Hello, everyone. So I am finally ready, and Eve is going to answer the questions that you all put to her. Um, One was if she would name the yogis that she said had approached neutrality, and she already answered that to me personally, and she said no, because you wouldn't know who they were. um, and also that they existed in more than one probability, but that they were not well known. So she's not talking about like Yogananda or Satchidananda or anybody like that. Um, so then you wanted to know about the outcomes of neutrality, regression from war. Do traumas in the past affect this incarnation? And if so, what suggestions would she have for that? Um, what is the importance of finding past traumas and addressing them? If she would discuss the increasing non acceptance between countries, and about the pandemic, what are the underlying changes in our society as an after effect, and on the whole, what are the dynamics of it all? So basically, what we're looking at is regression more on trauma and more on neutrality, with the addition of non acceptance between countries. So let's see if I can reach her, and we'll see what she has to say. Yes. So it has been a while since we have spoken to you, but we will begin now to answer some of the questions that have been put to us. We will begin with trauma once again. Now, traumas in other lives may or may not affect your current incarnation and your perception of your current space time. This is because of bleed throughs, and because you move between your lives, past, present, future, and current. So you may run across a trauma that has not been resolved and feel a pull to do something about it. So it's not a direct karma like thing. It's not like, oh, I had a trauma in a life in the 1800s and I must resolve that now in the 21st century. It is not that. So we would say, on the whole, you don't need to look for them. It's not something where you need to go into a meditation or a past life regression or anything like that to look for a trauma to work on. It is only if you happen to run across one as you are living your life or weaving in and out of different probabilities. Should you run across a trauma at that time and feel it emotionally to be something quite heavy, then you may want to look at it. Um, Now, the outcomes of trauma, as we have discussed, are quite varied and individual. And you will need to look at each trauma individually as you identify it to see what beliefs are surrounding that trauma and whether it is still affecting you. For you may have already worked it out. It may just simply be memory in the very back of your brain that may pop up from time to time. This can especially be true of the loss of a loved one, which is always a very traumatic. But you see, when you hold the belief that it is this person's choice to leave when they have decided to do so, and that you understand the place they are going to, well, have gone to, is a place for examination, then that trauma should be lessened. Once you understand that person did not say, oh, I don't like you anymore, so I'm leaving, or there is nothing personal in the fact of that person passing on, and also that you understand you may still connect with someone who has passed on. And this is also true of events. You may connect with past traumas as you so desire. You can relive them, or you can look at them objectively, which we would suggest would probably be more beneficial to you in reaching your value fulfillment. So, and this is our answer to the question about trauma and whether it currently affects you if it has been a past trauma. Now, understand also that as your present and future traumas come to you, approach you, or you live through them, remember that this is a choice that you have made, and that being so, you can look at that trauma. We would not say necessarily overanalyze it, but you can dissect it a bit. You can look at it and say, oh, what positive has come from this trauma? What advances will I make in my life due to this trauma? What perhaps have I set aside, have I put away after experiencing this trauma? So, next, we will talk about neutrality and the stance of neutrality. Now, neutrality can be beneficial in some circumstances, and we believe we have spoken of this before. We have told you that you may pretend to be neutral, but you are not neutral. So when you are looking to take a neutral stance on some event, you must be true to what your real feelings are. And you must understand that certain responses to neutrality may anger others or may make a situation worse, whereas approaching it with the truth of your being may have the same effect. It may make it worse, it may make it better, according to your standards. So again, it is very situational. One cannot say conclusively all neutrality should be approached this way. All situations should be neutral. You should always try to have a neutral stance because that is not true. Now, we also wish you to understand that there is a difference between being neutral and being distant, being purposefully apart from a situation where you wish to dissociate from it. So dissociation and neutrality are not the same thing. So we would ask you to think about that. When you are neutral, it generally means that you have no extremely strong feelings one way or another about the given situation that you find yourself in, or the given mass event that you find yourself in. But when you wish to disassociate, that is a different matter. It can be positive, but in many cases, we would venture to say in most cases, unless you are using it to attempt to raise your consciousness to what is considered enlightenment or something of that regard. In most cases, this is simply a refusal to face whatever the situation is, where your desire is that you are not yet ready to take a serious look at the emotions and energies behind a particular event, so you disassociate from it. You say, no, I am no part of this, I want no part of this. So you see, they are very different things. Now, one moment, please. Now, the next thing that we wish to talk about is the current situation of politics in the world, in the United States especially, and in the relationships between countries, which at this point appears to you to be very strained. And in terms of your reality, it is very strained. And you are at a crossroads here. Do you see? It would seem to us to be quite obvious that the world is in some ways not so different as it has always been, for you have countries that clash, you have political beliefs that are held in different countries and by different castes in society. Those in power always wish to stay in power, and those who have no power frequently wish to gain power. And so you will have clashes. And again, we tell you that this is one concept being explored over centuries, over all of humankind in different ways. It is not that the world in this instant right now is any different than it has been at any other time. But because it is so much in your face, as you might say, it can feel that way. So we are saying that in terms of the situation now, there is a crossroads, there is a choice. And you can make this choice individually by moving to another country, by leaving this life and saying, well, I'm done with this, I don't wish to deal with this anymore, by joining groups that are similar to your belief systems. But on the whole, this will be dealt with in mass. It will be dealt with by the majority of feelings and agreements that are formed in, I believe you call the state F2. So it is not a dream state, but it is beyond a dream state. And you will mesh energies with others and come to a conclusion. Whether you want to continue to lose more and more freedoms, to increase the clashes that are going on now, or whether you wish to turn the corner, so to speak, and increase your feelings of freedom, your actions that lean toward perceived freedom. So we say to you, don't be overly concerned, but act on what appears to you to be your most prevalent and intense feelings about a situation. We would say, on the whole, things are looking good, if we may use that term, as far as beginning to reject those types of government activities and persons who, in your way of looking at morals, are quite negative and aggressive. Now, it may appear to you that because so many are leaving at this time, that may be considered to be a sign that things are not going well. But we tell you that is not the case. Many who have left under all kinds of different situations, many of those who have left are doing a great deal of work in the state of existence that they are in now. They feel that they could be more helpful in this way. So, we hope that we have answered many of your questions, and if you have more, please go ahead and let this one know, and we will discuss further. We feel that we are complete.